How does a professor turn research and inventions into business? Let me tell you how. Forming a business for a professor. Hi, my name is Chen Liu. I was a former professor. I entered into business world and I learned quite a bit about the business as a professor. So let me tell you something about exactly what happens when a professor meets business. This will have four parts. I'll try to be as quick as possible. Part one, dream versus reality. Part two is not the mind, it's a mindset. Part three, I will teach you how to make a one-page plan for yourself, how to make a business plan for yourself. And number four, I'll teach you how to make a one-page business plan for the investors. It is more important to make it for yourself, but it is certainly also important to make it for the investor. But those two are not exactly the same. Now let's talk about dream versus reality. Business is a very complex thing. Business is not a simple issue. And most of the academic faculties, professors, or advanced PhD students do not understand what business is. Business is what a lot of people think about money, but it is also about begging for money, begging for other people's money. Nobody will just throw money at you just because you're smart. Business is about survival. A lot of people that we know in business are rich, but most of them are not. Business is not completely honest. A lot of people in business have to cheat and have to compete using all kinds of means. The business is a very complex world. You can only do business when you are in business. You cannot do business outside of business. And most of faculties, very smart PhDs, are in a what's called public sector job. You're in college teaching, you're in a public sector job. It does not matter how smart you are. If you're not in business, it's very hard to come up with ideas for business. It's easy to come up with ideas, but a business idea is different. Now, let's talk about some of the mindset issues. The mindset issues are the most important. That blocks a lot of people. Business is actually indeed very easy, but unless you change your mindset, it will forever remain very hard for you to get into. Business is not about how you get money. Business is a place where money makes money. That's what's called capital. Money wants to make more money, just like you want to make more money. A lot of poor people, a lot of poorly educated people also have to make a living, and business is how they make a living. Business is a game. Business is not a necessity, but it's a game for a lot of people, including some people who are super rich and super experienced. So when you want to have a business, have a company, have funding, remember that you are competing with all these people. Okay? It doesn't matter how smart you are a new entrant. You are a new entrant in the business world. Business mixes what's called doing good with very bad behaviors. A lot of people in business, they are very good, but they're very good doing both good and bad things. You have to do good things, but you have to do it through competition and through survival. And a lot of the competition and survival is hook and crook. You cannot tell people. That's why you never hear tell-alls from Amazon or Tesla or SpaceX owners. Uh, they don't tell you that, but that's a reality. If you just want to do good with good, most of the time you get ignored. So here's a quick summary of what we have discussed so far about the mindset. Uh, don't try to make money. Try to provide value. What is value? Value is free stuff. Try to give people a lot of free stuff and charge just a little bit. All right. And then you have to relate to the people who value your value. You cannot just go randomly to the street and say, hey, you want to buy my stuff? That's not going to happen. You have to seek out the people. You have to let the people who want to find you. Trust me, there are enough people who want to find you. Then you can find others. So it's more important for other people to come to you, but that takes hard work. Don't try to invent, try to reinvent. A lot of the inventions are new, unproven, unreliable technologies for a product. So try to reinvent, try to disrupt, try to change, try to be a game changer. Don't just invent new things. So for a lot of professors, very smart, they have a lot of ideas. You have to realize that business is not about many ideas. Business is to maximize and after an extreme focus. Okay, for example, Amazon. Amazon is a great business. It started as a simple idea. It's an online marketplace for all. Online marketplace for all. Very simple, extreme focus. It doesn't even do offline business, but it maximizes. Think about how many items Amazon sell and buy in that marketplace. That's an example of maximizing extreme focus. Google, for example, is a company that only does search. But think about how many combinations there are for a search term. They maximize on extreme focus. If you want to get into the business, you have to subject to the mindset of business. You cannot dominate the business world just by being smart. There are enough smart people there. They may not be as smart as you, but they are experienced and they know who have capital. You don't have experience and you don't know who has capital. So you have to accept a new lens to view the world. Business is not a project. Business is about life and attitude. You either have it or don't have it. Now you have to remember that people don't just buy useful things. There are a lot of things that are useful, lots of interesting ideas. But people don't just buy useful, interesting things. They buy valuable things at extreme low cost, and has to be great. The first one attracts them to you, and the second one helps them make a final decision. So selling is a two parts game. You first have to attract people to you, and then you have to make them buy. You have to prove indispensable to the people that want to pay money to you. It's not an easy thing, but once you find out who they are and where they congregate, then it becomes very easy. Business is not about knowledge. There are a lot of knowledge out there, but business is not about new knowledge. Business is knowledge plus product know-how. You have to know how to make something, and you have to know who is a market maker, who competes in the market, because customers have to evaluate you against many competitors. Otherwise, they won't buy. If you're the only seller out there, you don't sell anything. And you need to have inside vision. You need to know who the bad characters are. You need to know who the copycats are, and you need to beat them. Otherwise, you don't win. You can start, but you won't win. Most of the investors don't fund you, not because the idea is bad, but because they don't believe you can win. All this add up becomes business. Business is not about having many ideas. Business is to finish one little thing. And you have to finish as number one in the world. Anything you do, you have to be number one in the world, or you don't survive. Business is a world-class competition, at least national level competition, and you have to be number one. So why does a lot of professors have hard time starting business? Number one is they don't have the mindset. Number two is they don't know who they are competing against. Okay? Business is made by people who are B students, C students, D students, E students, and F students. Business are not made by A students. Okay? A students are not invited to the game of business. Maybe they can be good employees, but you cannot be the entrepreneur, you cannot be the manager. You don't automatically qualify just because you were better than all of those people. Business is the world of survival of the fittest, survival of the biggest, survival of the first and foremost. You have to promote yourself. Half lies, half capital. Okay? You have to do all this just so that you can do some good. And every investor knows this. Um, every business people knows this. So let's talk about some analogy. If professor is, then business is what? Okay, we'll use this style to give you some examples. If professor is about fitness, okay, physical fitness, then business is about a sport. Business is cross-country, long endurance game. So you may be interested in fitness, but it doesn't mean you can win any sports game. If professor is about smart, then business is about outsmart. If professor is about working hard, then business is about hard survival and you have to kill your opponents. If you are smart and you work hard and all these things, you will get zero investment because nobody sees, nobody believes that you can survive. If a professor is a lake, then business is a wild ocean. Don't ask people to buy what you want to sell. Always make and sell what people wants to buy. This is why business is hard. You have to be in business. You have to know what people already want to buy now and make them now and sell them now. Never do this. Number one, never think of what you can offer to people. You can offer 100,000 different new things. Those are many, many ideas. But each one takes a long time to find a buyer. Each one takes a long time to make a product. Each one takes a long time to prove that your product is good. So you have to find what others demand. It's not just the supply chain. It's about the demand chain. Never think of business outside of business. Business is just a game. And most professors, no matter how many patents you have, how many papers you got, you're not invited. So let's talk about how to prepare a professor for business. Obviously, You have prepared your whole life to be a researcher. Now, how do you try to get some funding? How do you try to get the business world excited about your work? Well, you cannot do everything in your office every day. You have to go find and interact with the buyers. Business is about finding the buyers. Business is not about making stuff. You have to go to the market to find the buyers, to find your competitors. They go to expos, and they don't go to the academic conferences. Okay? This is almost a cliche, but you have to leave the ivory tower once in a while. If you're in the ivory tower, then you're just in the ivory tower. People in the dirty, stormy business world really don't care about what your idea is. There's enough. There's enough game already. The world already has everything in that regard, because every demand has been sensed and are being met right now. And you need to have capital. Okay, it's not a solo effort. You can make a nice little prototype, but unless you have capital, you cannot make scaled up, high quality product. You have to get access to capital. If you don't have access to capital, you don't have buyers. And if you don't have buyers, you don't have capital. These two things, capital and buyer, is what makes it very difficult for most professors. Capital and buyer. That's why professors have no advantage, even if you have a lot of great ideas. And a professor, most of the time, cannot tolerate failures. They think of failures as some kind of shame, as some kind of mistake. But you must fail. Failing is the only way that you are learning. A failure means you're teaching yourself right now. A failure is actually the only indication that you're teaching yourself right now. There's a lot of knowledge that is unwritten. Smart people still have to fail once. It's the same as swimming and riding a bike. If you don't struggle once in a swimming pool, if you don't struggle once on a bike, you will never be able to swim, you will never be able to bike. So, however smart you are, however perfect scores, perfect marks you have got in exams, now you must fail, 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 fail. Most successful business people hide their failure stories. Those are called scars, those are called experience. They don't tell you, but they're there every time. So how do you prepare a business plan? Here's an idea for a one-pager. A business plan is ultimately made for yourself. You have to make a plan for yourself because you're the only one conducting the business. Business plan is not made to hook other people's money, okay? For a one-pager, you must have the following information. Those are the most elemental, but those are also the most important. Number one, what's the name of the product? Not the brand name, not the catchy name, but what product do you offer? You must turn your idea into a concrete product because a marketplace only cares about products. You cannot go to a marketplace and educate people about your ideas. A product is very crucial. Number two, how long does it take for me to build a reliable product? How much? I may have a prototype, I may have a artifact, but how do I make it into a product that everyone can hold in their hands and never fails? You have to be realistic. It oftentimes takes $1 million to make a product. Okay, so Instead of thinking, how do I make money? How do I have business? Think about how do you get a cool $1 million of slush fund to build a product. Once you have the product, then you can start to talk about selling them. You need to think about your buyer profile. Be as specific as possible. Okay, don't say, oh, maybe everyone wants it. No, you need to say, oh, my buyers are 28 to 29-year-old females living in third-tier cities. That is not specific enough yet. You need to be very specific about your buyers. If you don't even know specific buyer profile, the buyers won't come to you and you won't find them, even they are passing you by. Number 4 is you must know your competitions. Okay, obviously, this can only be known once you start to compete, because the competitors are hidden. You can't Google them out. Okay? Google is not that smart to tell you who your competitors are. You have to find it out. You have to think about what value do I offer to attract buyers. And sweeten the deal. Value is basically means I'm sweetening the deal. I'm making it impossible for you not to buy, not to pay. Okay? You offer low price and high performance. Magic show. For example, Google. Everyone can go to Google and search wonderful things for hours. How much does Google charge you? $0, all right? So that's what I mean by value. Google offers value, and then they try to find some ways to make a little money from you over time. Maybe social networking, maybe Google Marketplace, Google Wallet, they charge by commission. But Google doesn't make money easily, even Google, okay? What barriers do I build so that not only I can make it, but nobody else can? Business is about preventing others from doing the same thing. And next one is about the team. How do I have a team? How do I get someone with both knowledge of the technology and knowledge of the market? Now, those two are not something you can find on campus. People who knows some technology are engineers, technicians in a company. People who know markets are marketing people, salespeople on the street. You cannot just assemble a bunch of students and train them to be salespeople. It's not going to work, okay? Now, I mentioned that you have to get investors. To get investors, you have to keep in mind that there is no goodwill investors. Good investors are, for sake of a better word, are evil, all right? They only want their money to mushroom. They're not here for you. Despite whatever they say about love of technology, love of advancement, love of you, they don't care. They want their money to mushroom quickly. Everything else is just appetizer for the interaction with you. They want to know you, but the minute that they know your technology, you're not ready, they leave. They leave without saying anything. Now the next one is, how do we turn an idea into something that investors can fund? Obviously, if you can somehow hook in investor money, then you can find marketing people, then you can find technicians, and so on. How do you do that? If you know how to get capital, that's a gift on its own, okay? When you go to an investor, talk about your products. Never, never, never talk about your ideas. Always tell them, this is a product I'm selling. Investors do not care about your ideas. Talk about the market to sell the ideas. Tell them where you're selling. Let's say your idea is a optoelectronics new type of laser. Let's say a purple laser pointer, okay? Tell them that this is a laser pointer that shoots out purple color, and tell them where you're selling them. So, oh, I'm selling them on Amazon. I'm setting up a store called Purple Laser Shop in Amazon. Okay, Amazon is a market, and Purple Laser Shop is a shop in the market. Talk about why you can dominate your niche. Talk about why nobody can replicate you on Amazon. Talk about why people would prefer to buy you rather than the blue lasers, the red lasers, the green lasers, and so on and so forth. And then you talk about proof. You don't go to investors and say, oh, I have an idea about a purple laser. You have to show them, I've already built this store, I've built this product, and the product is going like crazy. Then investors would get very interested. Right? Show the proof, not the concept. And you talk about guaranteed benefits. You tell them, hey, investor, you give me $1 million today, and in 1.5 years, I'll give you $3 million in cash back. You don't tell them, oh, maybe I will have some profit in 10 years, and you'll be the first in line to take the profit. That's not enough. That's not what an investor is interested in. Investors want 3 times return in 1.5 years. Otherwise, adios. All right. Investors are not smart. They're not. They don't have a PhD degree from as prestigious a place as you have been. They're not smart, but they're very experienced. They know so many failure stories that they cannot share with you. They are very generous. They are very good listeners. They give you a lot of compliments, but they are super calculating. Okay? In the end, they don't care about your story. You have to know that knowledge is not the barrier. Know-how is the barrier. Know-how is the intellectual property. Know-how is what you can sell. A patent is not automatically a know-how. A patent is an attempt to capitalize on the idea. But know-how is typically not written down. Know-how is how to get a product with high quality going. You do not write it in a patent application. Now, for a professor to make business, it's very hard. You have to have 4 parts together: capital, product, people, and experience. Try to get 1 or 2 at a time. And once you have 1 or 2, then the rest will start to come together to you. But if you don't have any part of it, see, most of the professors don't have capital. That's why they need the business. They don't have experience. They have never been in business. They don't have a product. All they have is prototypes, lab demos. And they don't have people because every day they just deal with their students. So you must assemble 1 or 2 of them before you can even start to walk. There are some good Chinese proverbs that are related to this. Okay. Is business very hard? Well, the hard part is to know that it's hard. It is very difficult for a professor to know that business is hard. Once you know business is hard, it is easy for you because you are super good. You are amazingly good. 知难不难. Okay. In business, you must assemble 3 things: 人、财、物. 人 means humans. 财 means capital or cash. Cash is not capital, but capital can be liquidated to use as cash. You use cash to pay your salary, to pay salaries to your employees. Assets, products, know-how, those are 物. So business is about going above and beyond. Above and beyond. It's above just being excellent. you have to fail to be more excellent. It's above objects and prototypes. It's about making artifacts, about products. Products is a demo with a promise. If I demo to you, if I take 5 minutes of your time, I promise you that, that it will work. Or I will give you $100 back. Right? That's a promise that people will come to you to even see your 5-minute demo, 5-second demo. You have to go beyond hobbies and have a sole focus. Good luck. I hope everyone find a path, because it's hard, but once you know it's hard, it becomes easy. Thank you.